What's up, guys? Talon back with the video. I had a viewer request, and I've been trying to get more videos out to you guys. I've just been a little busy lately. They want to see Rotterdam, I believe 1080p with ultra settings and low settings and ultra textures. So it looks like I finally got a Rotterdam map here loading. Just finding a map sometimes can be challenging of itself. Make sure, yeah, so they want 1080p ultra low Rotterdam. Okay, let's see if we can do that today. Looks like it's pretty full server. It's a little bit late at night. Spawn in here. I've still got it set to 4K at 160 hertz, but I'm just going to set it to 50% resolution scale, and that is 1080p. It may not be perfect as far as like how it scales, but it's pretty close. It's real close. I've tested it out. Let's see here, 50% resolution scale. You can see it's 4K, 160 hertz. Everything should be set up correctly. 50%. Yeah, that looks good to me. Alright, so we're going to probably hit 200 frames. So you can see we're maxed out right here. So we'll do game time, max, variable, FPS, and just type in what you want. So I'm going to do 300 as the max frames, and you can see it went right up. So now I'm at 280. I actually have to go above that. Jeez. Jesus. Tell you what, I'm just going to... How did that get turned back up? I thought I turned it down. Plus, I thought the master volume control would control that. So it's kind of late at night. My wife is sleeping, so I do have to be kind of quiet. She's got leave for work in the morning. I will be working from home, so she actually has to go into the office. Anyways, so you can see up the top left corner, 295 frames a second, 292. Maybe I should set this to 300, 400 or something. Obviously, I'm in a very isolated area of the map, but still, that's pretty freaking insane to see. I didn't even know the frames could go that high. That's crazy. It's a pretty full server. Not quite totally packed, but... There's another guy there. Shouldn't have zoomed in like that at the end. Where's he at? He went to the other side. Shit, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hearing things. Why is my nose running all of a sudden? I get sick. Oh. Damn. Okay. No! I forgot you can't pull your parachute in this one quite as easily. Did you guys see that guy's name? Like, what was that? Is that his hacker account? What is this? What is this guy on the other team? It's just numbers. A couple of team guys are just numbers, so they don't seem to be hacking very well. Look at their latency, though. Overseas players.
Good work. We have taken objective Charlie.
235. So this is the 11700K. If you guys are just watching, this is the 11700K.
Attention, we have lost objective
Not worth the sand edition. Just so you know, it's pulling 240 frames a second. But it's the not worth the sand edition. Running the RTX 3090 Kingpin edition. That one is worth its sand. There was a sniper there. There's a sniper there. 290 frames, 300 frames. We actually hit the limit there. Tell you what, guys, we're going to push it up. Game time, max, variable, FPS. Can you set it above that? I think you can. Jesus, we're above 300 frames a second there for a second. Obviously, we're just spectating it. That's absolutely insane. GPU is able to be fed that information that quickly from the CPU. So Rocket Lake is a weird chip. It's not, obviously, this guy up. Get over me. Obviously, it's not Skylake. We've had Skylake since 6th generation. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 were all Skylake. We're all 14 nanometer Skylake, different iterations, and every time they basically just kept upping the cores or upping the clocks. And finally, with 11th gen, now we have Rocket Lake, which is Sunny Cove renamed to Cypress Cove. So it's basically Ice Lake architecture backported to 14 nanometer. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a much different. It's a completely different architecture. So I'm running at 4.9 gigahertz all 4 right now. My 11700K is not a very good chip. The 11700Ks are not going to be great chips. You just already know that. The binning is going to be for the i9. There's going to be the silicon winners. They're just going to have lower power consumption because they're going to require less voltage for every stepping that you're going to go to. So if you're concerned about that or you're big into overclocking, definitely, okay, he got killed by somebody else. Definitely get the i9, but then you have to go, well, is it going to be worth the money? You know, or is Rocket Lake even worth it over getting one? If you live near a micro center right now, you can go grab yourself a 10850K for $319, $320, I believe, $330. You can get a 10900KF, and I think at 380 or if you still go on sales, the last I checked they were. I think it's 380 or 390. You can get yourself a full 10900K. Which is insane, and then on top of that, they'll give you a $20 discount if you grab a motherboard while you're doing it. For that price, that is insane value. It's really hard to justify. Again, it's all contingent upon you being able to get those prices for Comet Lake. There are some things you're going to give up. You're obviously going to give up PCI Express 4.0. If that matters to you too much, I am using PCI Express 4.0. System reboots. I mean, I never used PCI Express 3.0 and NVMe drives are slow. So is that really worth it? Yeah. Again, that's all contingent upon your use. PCI Express lanes. So you do have more PCI Express lanes with 11th gen and with Rocket Lake. You are, I think what they do, they double the DMI bandwidth, so better input-output connectivity, essentially. The GPU for PCI Express 4.0 doesn't really matter right now. There's like a 1 to 2% difference on the highest end card, like a 3090. There is performance there, but how much is it? You know, it's pretty small. But that could change with, you know, the upcoming generation of GPUs. Maybe 4000 series or 7000 series from Radeon change that entirely, and maybe you're a person that hangs on your CPU setup for maybe, you know, 4 to 5 years. Maybe you're coming off Sandy Bridge or something, and you want to upgrade. Having PCI Express 4.0 might be kind of good to have. The core deficit is not a real big deal because the cores are faster. So losing 2 cores is not a real big deal anyway, because the cores are faster. It kind of makes up for it. It's not entirely made up for it, and again, I don't have an i9, so my overclocking again has been limited. I'm running 4.9 gigahertz all core. If I had an i9 and I could run maybe 5.2 all core, I could maybe almost entirely, not entirely, but very close to making up that entire multi-core performance deficit, even compared to my overclocked 10900K. And just blow it away in single core performance. I mean, just really smokes it. How much that translates into in games, it's hard for me to say. I mean, you guys can see the frames up there at the top left. I don't know how much. I didn't really do the testing out very often. How much my 10900K could punch out. I guess I could go back and look for videos, but this thing feeds really fast. It does. I've got it paired with 3600 Steel 15 memory. Again, because my chip isn't good, I can't get that 3733 1-to-1 gearing. It is in gear 1. So the memory controller is matching the DRAM frequency. If you go to gear 1 to 2, it halves it essentially. Obviously 1 to 2, and that'll allow you to go to higher frequencies, which is going to give you more throughput, but it's coming at the cost of latency. But you can tune that down quite a bit. I was doing it earlier, and I got it down to about 48 nanosecond, where with my 1-to-1 setup, I'm running right now about 43 nanosecond. So that's kind of how I've got it at 3600 CL15. So not too terrible. You could get in the mid 30s or low 30s really with a 10 gen with really high end DDR4. Like if you had some really good BDI with 10 gen, 9 gen, 8 gen. Actually 9 gen was better than 10 gen. But so 43 nanosecond is not that bad. It's pretty close to what I was running with my 10900K at 4000 CL16. So the latency argument is not really there. The L3 is a little bit slower. The L3 latency, the L3 cache, that is a little bit slower, but it's very minimal. It's like less than a millisecond or something, or nanosecond. So I don't know how much that translates. That might be a lot. I don't know how much that translates into. Trying to get these guys up, deciding if I want to just kill the tank, kill people, or save them. I probably should have left them alone. I know my teammates survived, but I'm just going to spawn. I guess that kind of is a pretty big hit, but regardless, it doesn't seem to have any issue like linear games. When I first got the CPU, one of the first things I tested was I played Squad, and I noticed a massive uplift. I did testing the night before with my 10900K at the firing range. Okay, I can't spawn this guy because he's using too much combat. I'm sitting here just clicking like crazy. I did testing on that, and I'm not even kidding you. I had about a 50 frame uplift from my 10900K going to my Rocket Lake, and I was blown away. I was like, I had to retest, and I retested. I really hoped that my 10900K wasn't having any issues. I don't think it was, and I think what it is that those games, those Unreal Engine games, are very single core dependent. If you go in that game and you load it up, you'll see that it's poorly optimized, and it uses like 1 or 2 threads. That's about it. Like, that is it, and it loads those up really, really heavily. Again, due to poor optimization, but that doesn't matter. So if you're playing something that may not be super mainstream, like you're playing Squad, or you're playing Hell Let Loose or something like that. Actually, an update came out, so maybe I should go hop into that. You're playing Hell Let Loose, or some of those smaller games that rely on Unreal Engine that may not be the most well optimized games and using all of the threads. You may see some huge gains by going to Rocket Lake versus going for the cheaper, outgoing Comet Lakes now. So that's something to keep in mind. That the mainstream reviews are not going to touch on. They don't cover that stuff, Yeah, I don't think that Rocket Lake is going to have any sort of gaming issues. Oh man, I'm going to die here. Damn it. They're just like everywhere in that courtyard. Oh,
they stunned me! I need a medic!
Maybe? No, he's going to die. I hope this is useful to whoever wanted to see this video, and maybe they're just making a comparison. That's great. I look for comparisons all the time myself on YouTube, and make sure that my performance, my hardware is all kind of performing where it should be. But yeah, it's been my experience so far with Rocket Lake. I've had it now about 2 weeks, something like that. Less than 2 weeks. I've had it for quite a while. Not quite 2 weeks. And I haven't felt the need or desire to go back to my 10-core Comet Lake at all. I've had 0 issues. It's been rock stable. PCI Express 4.0 works. My GPU is running properly at 4.0 now. And I look forward to hopefully more obviously. The thing is that Skylake is a very old architecture. It's optimized. It's been, all the updates are out there for it, right? It's tuned. Everything has been kind of made for it. Rocket Lake's brand new, and its ability with new instruction set, like it's got AVX 512. I don't know if that can be used in games, but maybe in the future. I think AVX 2 was kind of looked at the same way when it came out, like, you know, kind of useless and not widely utilized. You can still run games and stuff without the instruction set, but obviously it's going to be much better if you do have it. I'm not saying that AVX 512 will ever be used for games, but it's cool that it has, you know, some future-looking newer features, is I guess what I'm trying to say here. And with maybe future optimizations that come down in the way of firmware, microcode patches, BIOS updates, you know, things like that. You know, we may see performance enhancements or better performance in other games that may come out in the future that take advantage of the higher IPC that is offered by Rocket Lake. So it's just something to keep in mind. I definitely think, though, if you live near Micro Center and you've got those really good deals before those things, you know, either sell out or get price jacked once, you know, Micro Center realizes that maybe a lot of people are coming in here buying these, you might want to jump on one of those and take advantage of that deal. If you don't, then I would maybe, personally, I'd probably just grab an 11700K and not even look back. Crank it up as much as I can. Run it at 4.8, run it at 4.9, run it at 5, 5.1. There's some people running them 5.1. It all depends on your luck in the lottery. And enjoy it. You have an amazing 8-core CPU. It's got its really, really fast single-core performance. You've got PCI Express 4.0 for the GPU, for the NVMe drives you want to put in there. Even if you don't care about those things, the enhancements that they bring, the allowing you to basically, say you put in a GPU, now you put in a sound card, you put in some sort of expansion card as well for video capture or something like that, and say your GPU drops down to PCI Express 4.0 8 instead of 16 the bandwidth will be equal to PCI Express 3.0 16 which means you're not going to lose any performance that you would lose if you went with the Z490 and the you know, 10th gen CPU. You lose that, so you wouldn't have that expandability. So these are all things that you can think about. Like, you know, that's actually something that I didn't think about, or that they're not talking about in reviews. Like, it does bring something to the table that I otherwise wouldn't have. So, things to keep in mind. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think below. What are you thinking about doing if you're looking at buying a new CPU? Maybe you're going to buy an AMD CPU. They're great CPUs as well. I tried out the 5900HS. This was my first Ryzen. Absolutely a beast CPU. Maybe you're going to go AMD, or maybe you're going to stick with Intel because that's what you know and that's what you've been building. It seems to be the common reason that a lot of people stick with Intel is that it's always worked for them without issue, and they know how to operate or overclock or whatever they may be doing. You know, let me know. Are you going to go with the 10th gen? Are you going to go with a new 11th gen CPU? Man, I turned on that guy. Or if you're going to go with an AMD. Also, let me know what other games you might want to see. I've got about another 6 days with this CPU. 5 days, actually. 5 days. On the 30th, I'm going to get my 11900K. And that's the one I'm really excited about because I'm hoping, you know, get 200-300 more megahertz out of it, decent power, decent voltage, unless I lose the lottery. That's gonna suck. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Talk to you later.